All right. Okay. Looks like we are live. Let me check on the YouTube side of things to make sure that we are live. Okay. Yep. We are there. We are in the building. We are here. We are live. Wait a minute. Why does that look like that? Hold on. I think that's a little bit too. Okay. A little better. Okay. Cool. All right. Hey, hello. Oh, we got people out here already. I appreciate y'all hanging out and arriving in style as y'all are want to do. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, tonight's chat should be a little bit interesting. I think some people some headlines out there might have folks a little worried, but figure I will come on here tonight to just calm the waters a little bit. Just let people know that I don't know if it's time to panic just yet. Although it's not looking all that good. But again, I don't know if I'm ready to panic just yet. Like there's a lot of things that needs to happen still before I go into full on panic mode about what's happening. But yeah, we got the headlines. We'll attack the headlines and see what's going on with that. But good evening, happy Friday. Appreciate y'all being here. What's going on? Y'all know where you all are. Y'all know what's about to happen. So let's go ahead and get this party started. I mean, we already got like 8 people watching, so y'all ready to rock and roll, and I appreciate y'all being here. So, current time, 6:18 p.m. Central Standard Time, which means you are in the right place. You are on the right YouTube channel, baby, yeah. So let me go ahead and get into the introduction, do the roll call, all the cool things that we do out here on this YouTube channel, and then we will go to work and have the conversation about what is happening to prices in the tech space, because yeah, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff happening just today. Yeah, let's talk. Woo! What's up, people? This your boy Vyyyper, the man about tech, back again for the video. And before I get started with tonight's festivities, let me see who I got in the chat tonight. First on the list is Joe in the building. What's up, Joe? How you doing, man? Good to see you in the cut. We got my dude Genosis out there. What's up, Genosis? How you been, man? Good to see you. Tony Locke is here. What's up, Tony? How you doing, man? Good to see you. We got my man, the Norwegian sensation, Elvid. Hey, what's up, bro? How you been? Good to see you in the cut. And we got Rashid AI. Oh, my Lord. I don't know if I've seen that name in a long, long time. Rashid, what's up, bro? Long time no see. Hopefully you've been well. Also, shout out to my alert squad. Apparently there's 8 people watching, but I only called out like 4 or 5 names. So appreciate the rest of y'all watching. Either you can't comment because you're watching on a TV or you got me on in the background. I don't know what you're doing out there on your Friday night, but I am happy and humbled that you are choosing to spend a few minutes with your boy Vyyyper. So thank you for that. So live stream we call iPhones and tariffs. We all know that the Trump administration is imposing tariffs all across the world, and it's going to impact pricing in certain products and different things of that nature. It's definitely probably going to impact some of the tech that we love. And I saw a headline today about what's going on as it relates to iPhones and how these tariffs are going to impact the iPhone. So let's have a chit chat here about what's going on the iPhone and how these tariffs might impact iPhones and different things of that nature. Where is it at, bro? What are we doing here? What's going on? What is happening here? All right, there we go. Okay. So I am going to change my screen here real quick. Give me a second. Where? Okay, I'm like, come on now. Come on, OBS. Come on, bro. There we go. Whap! Cool. So we got this headline out there from Mac Rumors. iPhone could cost up to $2,300 in the US due to tariff. Now, that is just preposterous already. But let's go ahead and look a little bit more into this. Let me okay, that's whoa. What are we doing? Let me go back and refit that. Okay, good. All right, let's go into the article real quick and see what's going on here with Mac Rumor. What are they talking about, right? So apparently, U.S. President Donald Trump announced Wednesday that steep tariff will be applied to imports from many countries starting April 9th. The tariff could have a significant impact on Apple as the company assembles the majority of their iPhones in China. That much is true. And products imported to the U.S. from China will be subject to a 54% tariff. Now, let me break this down real quick, just in case y'all don't really understand tariffs and what they mean and all that jazz. All right, I'm gonna be wait a minute, what are we doing? Hold on. Whoop, my bad. Trying to go back and put me full size here. All right. So, what are tariffs? I think we should start there. And I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before, but just in case you're not aware, what are tariffs, right? So, a tariff, to my understanding, is basically a tax on things that are imported into a country. So, let's say iPhone, for example, right? When iPhones get sent to the United States, a tariff would be a tax, extra money that Apple, because they are the manufacturer of an iPhone, Apple will now have to pay extra money to have those iPhones sent into or brought into the United States. Because again, if you believe, if what this article is saying is true, it stands to reason that Apple will have to pay a 54% tax on importing iPhones. Now, think about how many iPhones that Apple imports every year from China to the US, right? 54%. Right, to Joe's point, is about the country of origin. So again, China is the country that is making the iPhone, but the majority of them. Now Apple have begun to kind of spread that out to different parts of the world as far as how and where they manufacture iPhones. But most of the iPhones today are manufactured in and brought in from China. So if Trump is going to levy a 54% import tariff on the iPhone, Apple has to spend 54% of an increase to have those iPhones brought in from China. Now, what does that mean for you and me, people that are iPhone customers? Well, I don't know what your understanding of business is, but when companies incur extra costs for products due to manufacturing or import or anything like that, normally they do not eat those costs. What most companies are going to do, and you all have seen this with the 30% app tax that Apple takes in app, right? It's the reason why today, if you signed up for X Premium or whatever via the iPhone app, it will cost you more. It will cost you more money to do that via the iPhone app, as opposed to you doing it directly from X.com, the website, because Apple has a 30% tariff, if you will, on in-app purchases. That's a good way to describe it, right? So now that these iPhones are going to experience a 54% tariff, Apple is going to spread that cost to us, the consumer. We're going to have to pay more money. Now, are we going to have to pay 54% more for our iPhones? Hell no. And that's why I want to get clear to you all. Will there be a price increase in iPhones? Probably. Is it going to be 54%? Absolutely not. Do you know what would happen if Apple tried to increase their cost of iPhones by 54%? It will be nothing short of the end of iPhone as you know it. Or as they know it. You want to talk about iPhone sales going pew, pew. Them things will decrease quickly. So Apple will have to eat some of these tariffs, but they're not going to eat the whole thing, obviously, because they have to make a profit still. And we all know that Apple is I think they're beyond $3 trillion in market cap and things like that. They have a lot of cash on hand and whatnot. But Apple is not going to eat the entire cost of the tariff, but they are going to offset some of that cost, or they are going to put some of that cost on us, people that buy iPhones. So going back to this article here, if we go down a little further, says that iPhone pricing could increase by up to 43% in the United States due to tariffs. There's no way in hell. I'm here to tell you right now, there's no way in hell, because they will not sell an iPhone. They won't sell. Actually, no, let me take it back. They wouldn't sell that many. If Apple had the audacity to increase the cost of the iPhone by 43%, the iPhone sales would tank, okay? So it's not happening. But again, will there be an increase in price? Probably. I would say maybe 10 to 15% the max, if you ask me. Now, again, I'm not no business major, but Apple still has to get people to buy the phone. So, again, and I'm glad that Joe brought this point. Like, it depends on what other companies do. Actually, Joe, I would almost say, why is it doing that? Okay, there we go. I would almost say it depends on what Apple does, because a lot of people like to follow in Apple's footsteps. So usually companies will take their lead from Apple And I think that with these iPhones coming later this year or whatever, I think a lot of people are going to be looking very closely at what Apple does as far as iPhone pricing goes, and then other companies will adjust from there. But they're not going to be a 40%. There's not going to be a 43% increase in the cost of the iPhone. The iPhone will not sell. It's just not, it ain't feasible, y'all. So this article is a bunch of sensational stuff, and this is what they're doing out there. We know that journalists now are all about the sensational stuff, but ain't no way in hell the iPhone is going up by 43%. It's not happening. So I keep reading this article, right? So it said, based on that prediction, the iPhone 16 Pro Max model with 1 terabyte of storage can go from $1,600 to $2,300. Think about that. Think about that. An iPhone, a phone that is not even a foldable phone, is going to jump to $2,300? They can't even sell foldable phones for $2,300, $2,000, let alone sell an iPhone for $2,000. No. Now, the other interesting thing about this particular instance, as it says at the end of the article here, at the other end of the iPhone lineup, the most affordable iPhone 16e model would increase from $599 to $850. Again, no way in hell that's happening. Apple is not going to sit here and charge $800 for an iPhone 16e. It's not happening. It just doesn't make business sense. Okay, so I think there's going to be some type of meeting in the middle here, or what's more likely to happen, and what's been happening for a while now, Apple will find a way to skirt the tariff. Because, I mean, I don't know if y'all have been noticing, but Tim Cook and Donald Trump are kind of chummy. So I would imagine that Tim Cook is trying to make sure that him and Apple have a good relationship with Trump so that they can kind of get around some of these tariffs. So I think that the most likely thing that happens in this situation, Apple finds a way to skirt the tariff. But even if they don't completely skirt the tariff, I believe that Apple will find a way to lessen them. They won't be responsible for the full tariff that Trump wants to impose on that country. Apple will find a way to either, have an exemption, or they'll find a way to decrease the percentage of the tariff that applies to their products. That's probably what will happen. So I love these articles, the sensationalism, the doom and gloom, but it's just not realistic. It's not realistic for most of these businesses, especially these big tech companies, to have to shoulder that burden. It ain't happening, because that would just, especially with the way the economy is right now, they're talking about these tariffs can send us into the next Great Depression and all this stuff. Like, bro, no. It ain't happening. So let me go back up here and check y'all comment, because I don't want to get too far in the weeds here. DB says, Apple is probably going to get a pass since they're in bed with Trump, which I was just talking about. I don't know if they're in bed with Trump, but they have cordial relations. So if they don't get a pass, they'll get a reduction in percentages of the tariff. Probably. That'd be my guess, for sure. Elvede says, the aluminum, amongst other products, or most of Apple products are imported from Norway. And even though we're not a part of the EU, the import from here have now increased 20%. Yeah, a lot of these tariffs are being felt across a lot of the world right now, especially the major manufacturing centers in the tech space. So a lot of your tech products are going to go up, but not just tech products. Anything that is imported from these countries, the price is probably going to go up, because again, most of these companies are not going to eat these tariff costs. They're going to pass it down to their customers, and it sucks for us. But unfortunately, that's just the reality that we're in right now. Antron, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. Appreciate you dropping in. Snowman, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Hopefully you are doing well, man. Good evening, or good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Joe says, what will most likely to happen is that if he doesn't budge on the tariff, Congress will take away the executive branch's power to impose tariffs. These increases are not sustainable. Yeah, Congress could do that. They definitely could do that. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens, but that's definitely something that's possible too. Brian says, with carrier financing and other options, people are still going to buy them. Maybe not every year, but they will. Oh, absolutely. I was talking about this in one of my recent Twitter spaces, but just because you are not part of the market that will buy our product does not mean that the product does not have a market. basically meaning that just because you can't afford something doesn't mean other people won't buy it, basically. So you are correct. Yeah, people are going to buy them regardless. You notice the tariff exemptions is this: you got to bypass the noise Trump puts out for the media and wait for the back end negotiations to happen. Oh yeah, this is the other thing that happened today. Watch, I'll get into in a minute, but expect Switch 2 to be $600. I'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, but you notice going back to your tariff exemption, yeah, that definitely happens. I don't know. I'm not sure how amicable Trump is going to be to allowing that to happen, but I do believe that he will be willing to negotiate a reduction because, again, to Joe's point, these tariffs right now, they're not sustainable at the rate that they're talking about. It's not reasonable. It's not reasonable, and it's not sustainable at all. It's not a good look. It's just not a good look. All right, Joe said, even goods made in the U.S. will increase in price since they use imported materials. Yes, I'm glad you say that because I saw a clip. I was confused at first because I saw a clip that said even things made in the U.S. will increase in price. But to Joe's point, it makes sense when you realize that even if the iPhones were made in the United States, the chipsets inside of iPhones are not made in the United States, or more often than not. So there are even the materials that these things need to be built are more likely made outside of the U.S. and those parts and materials will then be subjected to tariffs. So even if you have something that's made in the U.S. like cars, right? So there's I think Ford makes cars in the U.S. I think so. There are car manufacturers that make cars in the U.S. But if they have to import parts from outside of the U.S., then guess what? Those parts that they have to import from outside of the U.S., if they are importing from one of those countries that have the tariff, that means that those car manufacturers now have to pay more money to import those parts, which means the cost of their car going up whether or not it's made in the United States. So, yeah, it sucks all the way around. Even if stuff is made in the U.S., it doesn't matter. If there are parts inside of that thing that's made or manufactured outside of the U.S., those things will still feel the tariff. So, yeah, it's all a bunch of crap. Like Lobo said, 4 important parts from Canada and Mexico. So, yeah, those parts are going to be subject to tariff. So, it's kind of crazy. It sucks. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how this is going to be sustainable, especially with the percentages that they are talking about. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Joe said the car situation is worse since many of the parts they use cross the U.S. border multiple times during manufacturing, which means they will be taxed multiple times. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, that would suck. Hopefully there will be a way to mitigate that and not have them taxed all those different times. That's kind of crazy. But again, the one thing about a lot of these major tech companies, especially in the U.S., is that they have ties to politicians in Congress and different things like that. That's why you see a lot of tech companies trying to get on the good side of Trump so they can like kind of skirt these tariffs and different things of that nature. So I think some of these companies will be able to come up with exemptions or workarounds to try to mitigate the tariff as they are. But then obviously some companies are not going to be able to mitigate that because either they're unwilling to negotiate with Trump or they just don't care and they'll just throw the price onto the consumer and be gone and do it like that. So I don't know. It's interesting to think about. It does suck. But the other thing that happened today, holy crap, as Lobo just alluded to, the Nintendo Switch, right? The Nintendo Switch just had a event that highlighted how much it's going to be and when it's going to be available for pre-order and different things of that nature. That, my friends, has changed. Because now, let me see if I can find the announcement that was made by Nintendo today. Blah, 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 blah. No, of course, I can't find it. Okay, here we go. I found it. All right. So, Nintendo announced today that they are delaying the pre-orders of the Nintendo Switch 2, pointing to the impact of Trump's tariff war and evolving market conditions. It's the Switch 1.5. Well, for the purposes of this discussion, we'll call it the Switch 2, but I got you. But think about that, you all. They've already had the event announcing the product and unveiling it to the world. They announced, I don't know if they announced the price, but there is a price out there. The Switch supposedly was going to cost $450 US at launch, and it's launching on June 5th. And the pre-orders are supposed to go live next week. But Nintendo, because of all this tariff stuff, has now come out today and delayed the pre-orders of the Switch 2 because they are reassessing the impact of tariffs on the Switch and the manufacturing costs and whatnot. So, what's going to happen with this? Let me tell you what I think is going to happen. And if it does happen, it is about to be an absolute PR nightmare for Nintendo. So, the initial price for the Switch 2 was going to be $450. Now, but with the way these tariffs are going and Nintendo having to reevaluate how they're going to handle these tariffs across the board, they may have to increase the price of the Nintendo Switch, which would be an absolute PR nightmare. Because again, you already came out and announced it at $450, but now you are delaying pre-orders because you might have to increase the price of this game system. Bro, if that happens, it is going to be an absolute PR nightmare. But to Joe's point, initially when I first heard of this, I'm like, how were you not prepared for Nintendo? You knew this was going to happen. But to Joe's point, it's kind of impossible to plan around the tariff uncertainty and different things like that. I even heard that Nintendo tried to move manufacturing to Vietnam to try to offset some of the tariff, but now we found out that Vietnam is also going to be have tariffs imposed on them. So it's like a no-win situation for Nintendo and other manufacturers that are manufacturing in countries like Canada, China, Vietnam, stuff like that. Why would it be a PR nightmare for Nintendo? Because they already announced the price. They announced the price, and now they got to go back and walk it back. Not only do they have to walk it back, Joe, they might have to increase the price. Bro, it doesn't matter if it's their fault or not. That's a PR nightmare. You're going to have to tell the world that the price that they thought it was, which people already thought was a little high to begin with, now you're going to go out there and tell the world that price is going to go up? I don't care if it's your fault or not, bro. That's a PR nightmare. That is going to be a PR nightmare for Nintendo. That is going to be very interesting if that happens. And, ooh. No, it's not the U.S. government. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the U.S. government isn't the one controlling the price of the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo is setting the price. Okay, that's their baby. You can say that, but that's not how most people are going to interpret that. Most people are going to be like, damn, Nintendo got to raise the price. I mean, Joe, they're already calling Nintendo greedy for charging $450. And now they might have to increase the price because of the tariff. It's going to be a nightmare, fam. It's going to be a PR nightmare. Again, I know it's not their fault. You know it's not their fault. But most people are not going to see it that way. And it's not going to be a good look for Nintendo. I believe that Nintendo is going to have to figure out a way, if they are going to increase the price, they will have to figure out a way to soften the blow. Maybe include a game with it or something like that, or maybe include some accessories or something, or maybe include some codes to the eShop, whatever the case may be. If they do increase the price of this thing, they're going to have to offer some type of some filling to justify that price increase, because it is what it is. Joe, that's real life. I mean, you can say that, Joe, but it's real life. Again, the perception for the mass consumer is that Nintendo is greedy. Again, before this whole cancellation of the pre-order happened, people were looking at Nintendo for being greedy because not only do you have the price of the Switch, Joe, now they're talking about charging $80 a game for $80 pop for video games now. So people are already looking down on Nintendo. Now you have a potential situation where they might have to increase the price of the system too. Oh yeah, Nintendo's not. This isn't bad for Nintendo, yo. Again, I know that it's not their fault, but between the cost of the system, the cost of the games, and now a potential price hike of the system, bam, it's not a good look for Nintendo. Nintendo is going to take an L for this one. It's not their fault, but they're going to take an L if they increase the price. So we'll see. But that's happening. So it's a lot going on, man. It's just a lot going on. Like Joe said, there's a lot of uncertainty happening, and I don't know where it's going to go. Lobo says the price will be the same from other countries. It's only going to cost more in the U.S. than others. Yeah, because, again, the U.S. is the one imposing the tariff, so the U.S. is going to be the one that's feeling the heat because, yeah. You know, the Nintendo CEO got to put some tea time on Trump's golf course. I don't know, yo. I don't know. Oh, what's up, Jeremy? It says, yo, Vype, can Nintendo just try to increase internal memory like Samsung has been doing the past 3 to 4 years to make people think that they're getting a good deal? 512? I mean, maybe, but again, I mean, that's going to cost Nintendo more money, and then I don't know if that's going to work. I think probably the easiest thing for Nintendo to do, in my opinion, is just throw in a code for a game or two. I would say a game, not two, maybe a game. Throw in a code for a game. Or maybe two. I don't know. If they're going to increase it by $100, then maybe you might want to throw in a code for like a game or two, or throw in a voucher and something. They're going to have to find a way to sweeten the pot if they do announce a price increase. Because, it could be rough. He said, no, bro, this is the Trump tax. That's fine. But most people are going to see it as Nintendo being greedy. They're not going to see it as a Trump tax. Now, I mean, the educated folk will understand that, yes, it is a Trump tax. But most folks are going to see it as Nintendo just being greedy to be greedy, and not, because most people feel like Nintendo is a company that could probably eat the tariff, which is, of course, not realistic. But they feel like these companies are making billions of dollars hand over foot. Why can't they eat the tariff? Why are they being greedy? So it's not, again, we know that it's not Nintendo's fault, but the mass consumer will probably feel like Nintendo being greedy as hell, and it's going to be a public PR nightmare if they increase the price. Now, they may not increase the price. I don't know. But I don't know if you delay the pre-orders unless you are thinking about changing the price. Like, why else would you delay the pre-order? So, I don't know. He just made headlines today for these tariffs. Yeah. And again, these tariffs are affecting Nintendo. They're going to affect Apple and anybody else who does manufacturing outside of the U.S. on any of the countries that have these tariffs imposed on them. So, it's getting crazy out here, man. It's getting crazy. Joe says GTA 6 about to cost $120 for the standard version at this rate. Bro, you ain't never lied, man. You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. It's about to be wild. It's about to be wild out here, Joe. It's about to be wild out here, yo. You ain't never lied, bro. You ain't never lied. Oh, man. But it's unfortunate, man. But unfortunately, that is just the current climate of where we are. I don't know how long these tariffs are going to be in effect, or how long they're going to last, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But it's going to be a struggle for people to try to get around this financially and try to afford these things. Some people will not be able to afford them, and some people will be able to afford them, and it'll just be that. Hey, my dude from Sweden, Dennis, is here. What's up, Dennis? He says, I'm waiting to see how each country government reacts to the tariff. Already, Vietnam have renegotiated replicating tariff to 0. Time will tell. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, yeah. Now, these world leaders are not dumb. So they'll try to sit down with Trump and try to figure out how to renegotiate or work around these tariffs. Hopefully. Because again, they don't want to go through these tariffs because it impacts their bottom line too. So again, if you have to deal with the tariff, most companies are going to put that cost on the consumer, which will then in turn affect the consumer in a way that they're going to be less likely to buy your product. So these tariffs are going to cost you money in the end, because if you got to raise the prices of things, customers are going to be less likely to buy the thing that you are raising the price on. That's just how it works. So they got to figure out a way to get around these tariffs, and hopefully talking with Trump or whatever the case may be can get that done. But he's kind of hard-headed, so who the hell knows? Evidence that there's already set up plan for companies overall to stop importing goods from the U.S., both in the EU and countries outside of the EU, like Norway. It's going to hurt the average American. Yeah, there's going to be some petty stuff going on too, and that's unfortunate. But if that's how they're going to respond, and it's nobody else's fault but Trump. It's nobody's fault but his. So it is what it is. Joe said even if they negotiate, it's been so all over the place that it makes planning impossible. We've had on and off tariffs 3 or 4 times, and it's only been a few months. The market hates uncertainty. Ain't that the truth, bro? Ain't that the truth? Speaking of uncertainty here, you all have been gracious enough to make your donation to your boy while I've been on these live streams, and I thank you guys sincerely for that. If you can't support your boy via PayPal, no matter how big or how small, you can donate. Please consider hitting the link right there to donate to the PayPal. Still on the job hunt, and with all this tariff stuff going on, who the hell knows what's going to happen with everything. So if you guys can donate, it'd be appreciated. If you can't, that's fine too. I just appreciate you guys sitting here and hanging out with me as I talk tariffs and things like that. But, normally I kind of avoid this political stuff. But this is directly impacting the technology that we love. So it's kind of hard not to talk about it, given the fact that it's going to affect the cost of iPhones and Apple, Samsung products, and whatever else that these companies bring us here. So it's kind of hard not to talk about it because it's directly affecting the technology that we love. So it sucks, but this is the times that we live in. Oh, man. Always good to have a cold beverage on live. Y'all remember back in the day when my beverage of choice used to be Hawaiian Punch? Woo! Man, that was a long time ago. But yeah, your boy Vyyyper we used to roll on the Hawaiian Punch, bro. The Hawaiian Punch used to give me life on these live streams, man. But back in the day, I was doing like, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hour live streams. I am so glad those days are behind me. Those were some rough days, man. But y'all were here, yo. Y'all hung out throughout the entire time, and I appreciate y'all. So kudos to y'all for right? You know, like, yo, we were here for like 8 hours no time. Especially if Roberto was in here. Oh yeah, we would be 8 hours easy, yo. The funny part was there were times where the stream would be 8 hours and you would literally see me on my couch catching a nap. Yo, I was tired. Y'all can help me, yo. And especially when we're like, to your point, Roberto was carrying the stream, and Roberto can talk forever and ever. Amen, yo. You can't stop that dude. So I just let him go, and it went from 1 hour to 4 hours to 5 hours, and then look up in like 8 hours later. Like, I used to start at like 6:30, and streams would end at 2:30 in the morning, yo. It used to be wild. And then we had that one stream with Flossie Carter here, and he was here for like 7 hours, which is wild if you think about it. But yeah, Flossie Carter spent 7 hours on stream with me one Friday night, and it was me, him, Roberto, and a few other people, and it was just bananas, yo. That was some banana stuff going on. The good old days, man, the good old days. Yo, Jay Boogie, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? Good to see you, my guy. Hopefully you're doing well. Appreciate you being here. Happy Friday, my dude. Happy Friday to you. All right, what else is going on around here? Let's see what else is happening here. Also, I think with where these tariffs are going, people are really going to have to prioritize things that they need and things that they don't need. Excuse me. And this is something I really had to think about, being unemployed and not having any income, prioritizing what I really need and don't read and things like that. Obviously, when I had a job, I used to be able to pay for things pretty easily and I was good to go. But now that I have no money and I'm underwater and everything, it's like, yeah, did I really need that? No, not really. So whenever I do get back above water, it's like, hey, okay, yep, we can do without that. We can do without that. We can do without that. So yeah, these tariffs are going to have people having those type of conversations, really thinking about what you need and what you really don't need. And yeah, you really figure out real quick when your finances are in the toilet, the things that you really were living on that you don't really need. So kind of crazy. All right, if you guys got any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. Again, I appreciate y'all being here, hanging out with me. I know you guys could be doing anything else with your Friday, but you are hanging with your boy Vyyyper, so I appreciate y'all sincerely. Thank you for chilling and dropping by. Again, hopefully y'all are having a lovely Friday night, whatever it is that y'all doing out there in the wild. Janosin says consumers are less affected from silicon tariff versus companies. There's always used refurbished renewed solutions. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Tony said he's playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. Oh Lord, that's another controversial topic. I'm not gonna get into that too much here, but that game is raising a lot of eyebrows in the gaming industry for some of the things going on in Infinite. I think people are just overreacting and looking for something to complain about. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Although I will say there was destruction of Japanese shrines in the game that the Japanese didn't really care for. So that I can understand. But some of the other stuff, like the characters and their backgrounds and their orientations and whatnot, I think there's a lot of overreaction going on. And I think it's just much to do about nothing, to be honest with you. But I feel like these days people are looking for anything to be mad about. So they're mad about video game characters that don't fit their standard norms. And it's just shut up, dude. Either play the game or don't play the game. We don't care about what you want as norm. Just shut up, bro. Shut up. All right, let's see. Joe said these tariffs will also make the U.S. way less competitive in AI if they have to pay crazy tariffs to import those NVIDIA cards. I mean, the funny thing is, God damn, the funny thing is we're already not that competitive in AI. At least on the Apple side anyway. I know Google is doing big things, but at least on the Apple side, we're not that competitive in AI anyway. But yeah, that could create problems too. Again, I think that's why I want to talk about these tariffs tonight, because they have such a wide-ranging impact on the tech space. Because you all have to realize a lot of the tech that you use and love every day is made from countries other than the United States. I mean, I don't know. They still put this back on the iPhone. Even if you like take your iPhone out of a case, right, and look on the back of your iPhone, I think they might have eliminated it now. But it used to say "Made in China" or something to that extreme on the back. But I think they changed that. Okay, if it's on here, I can't see it. But usually on the back of your electronics, at least on the iPhone, back in the day, like down there somewhere, it used to say "Made in China" or something like that. Now it says it's on the box. They don't put it on the product anymore. It more or less says it on the box. But yeah, obviously your iPhones are made in China. I mean, anybody that buys an iPhone directly from Apple knows your iPhone made in China because it's shipped from China. So you already know that. You already know that, bro. Woo. So yeah, it's very interesting going on here with the AI and the tech and the tariffs and all that stuff and what's going on and what's going to be affected and whatnot. So strap in, saddle up, and let's see what happens moving forward with these tariffs and the technology that we love. Joe says they try to sell AI as a big race right now, but it really isn't. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Joe said designed in California, made in China, terrified in the US. Oh, yeah. Joe says academic use is far greater. Yeah, right now, but I think that's rapidly changing each and every day here, man. So while you are correct, I agree with you that AI is being more used academically than in consumer electronics. That stuff is changing day by day here. And I would say probably within the next year or two, consumer electronics are going to have a lot more AI in them. And if not by the next year or two, probably within the next 5 years for sure, consumer electronics are going to have a lot more AI in them. So it's happening, bro. Like I said, this is not a fad. This is not a phase. This is the next frontier of technology. Artificial intelligence and how you can integrate it into everyday life. This is happening. Whether you like it or not, AI is here. It's like Thanos. It's inevitable, and it's happening. It is happening. You know what, my biggest issue with AI right now is that when I go to do a Google search, and you know how Google has that AI overview when you do a search, a lot of that information is absolute trash. Like, AI out here lying. That's my problem with AI. It is lying out here. It is making up shit. So it's like, bruh, I can't trust you, AI. I can't trust the robot because they lying out here, yo. They out here plotting behind my back, trying to enact the real life Skynet, yo. I'm not having it. I don't trust any AI search, okay? I need absolute facts, okay? I don't trust AI search because they're usually a bunch of lies. Yo, I could be like, what's something that's an absolute fact? Like, oh, how tall is the Empire State Building, right? I do a search and they give me an AI overview. The Empire State Building is like 100 feet tall. Bitch, what? Stop, shut up. Like, stop lying, AI, you're lying. You are lying. Just be throwing lies out here, yo. Oh, terrible. Yes, I agree. The AI is not consistently telling the truth or giving you factual information. So it's out here lying, yo. This AI is out here lying, bro. It's terrible. So yeah. AI is definitely not at a place where we can come trust it implicitly yet. We are not there, yo. We are not there at all. We're not even close. I agree with you, bro. We're not even close. But again, I think we got a few people in the chat. If you guys got any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. Again, I know some of y'all are probably watching in the background and chilling and things like that, and I appreciate y'all. But yeah, something else I want to talk about, and I completely forgot about already. Oh, so I learned something this morning in my Twitter space. So y'all know DC, right? You got your Marvel and you got DC, right? And I always thought that DC stood for Detective Comics, and it does. But what I learned today for the first time in my 40 some odd years of life is that Detective Comics is a subsidiary of Diamond Comics. Actually, the parent company is called Diamond Comics. And I didn't even know Diamond Comics was a thing until today. It's a lot like the Google Alphabet stuff. Alphabet is the parent company, but Google is the company, the subsidiary underneath Alphabet. Had no idea that DC was a subsidiary. I thought DC was the thing, but apparently it is just one of the things. So I thought that was some interesting information that I learned today for the first time. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe. Now I could go Google that, but the AI answer was probably gonna be a lie, so I can't trust it. I can't trust the AI answer, so I'll have to get back to you. I'll have to go talk to my my comic nerds and then get back to you on that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If anybody in the chat knows about that, feel free to chime in, but I don't know, yo. I don't know. But yeah, Detective Comics is DC, but it is a subsidiary of Diamond Comics. And I'm like, oh, okay. The more you know, man, the more you know. All right, what else is going on? What else is happening here? You know, I was just thinking, right? With all this tariff talk and how it could potentially impact the cost of the upcoming iPhone 17 series, Apple is really going to have a strong WWDC, and they're going to have a strong iPhone keynote later on this year. Because if these prices are going to go up, they really got to have things in place that are going to sell these iPhones. And Apple Intelligence is not it. So it's going to make things really difficult for Apple if they don't get their ish together, because these tariffs are here. And if these prices for the Apple products are going to be impacted by the tariff, then these Apple products need to be much more compelling for me and you and consumers that are going to go out there and want to buy them. Because, you know, now obviously this is only going to affect the hardcore. Actually, I'd say that, yeah. This is really only going to affect the hardcore nerds. But even without the hardcore nerds, it can't be Apple Intelligence anymore, man. You got to come with something other than Apple Intelligence to sell this year's iPhone, because we got fed a boat of lies, yo. We got fed a see the deal. Like, bro, there's no way you cannot sell an iPhone on AI Doctor. We just talked about this. AI is a lie. Not to mention, how should I even believe that you can launch that in 2025? I mean, we've been talking about Apple Intelligence for months now, and it's still like mostly missing. I mean, some of it is there, but it's mostly missing. And now you're trying to sell me an iPhone on AI Doctor, when number one, Apple can't even get AI right. And number two, AI is right out still lying and can't be trusted like that, bro. Ooh, man, bro. If they're trying to sell iPhones on AI features this year, oh my God, man, oh boy, that will be worse than Nintendo having to walk back the price of the Switch 2. God, oh my God. What Apple will have to deal with was going to be much worse than what Nintendo will have to deal with if they have to raise the price of the Switch 2. Apple will have to deal with a lot worse heat if that's the case, man. Fam, you ain't never lied. Timmy needs to recalibrate quick. Like, you got to have something that's more tangible, man. AI is not it for Apple, because they have shown that they are not ready for prime time with their AI offerings. They got to recalibrate. I don't know what that means. Maybe there was a lot of rumors that iOS 19 could be a simple like design overhaul, and maybe that's the thing that will get them by. But they can't sell me on AI this year with iPhone. They got to figure something else out, because that ain't it. Joseph's AI has already been shown to work well to do things like diagnose cancer. The key is to use it with human intervention and not just to trust what it says verbatim. Yep. Okay. Now, are you talking about consumer level AI like Apple Intelligence and stuff we have on our phones? Or are you talking about some high grade AI that they're using in hospitals and shit? Because my question to you, Joe, is can they put that AI? Is that AI that could go on a phone and actually be right? Now, when it comes to health stuff, I'm more apt to trust Apple, because the Apple Watch and the things that it can do with heart rate and different things like that are pretty well. That worked pretty damn good. So Apple does have some reputation to stake here. They have a good reputation in the health space. But if you're talking about AI, oof, I don't know, man. I don't know. BG says Gemini is getting really good. Yeah, I've heard that. I don't really use it too much myself, but I've heard that it's getting very, very good. And, you know, with Google and Samsung collaborating on it, I mean, it's only going to get better. And here you got Apple dragging their feet with AI and trying to get better and different things like that. Okay, so cool. So you're talking about the stuff that consumers don't even use. I'm talking about stuff that's going to be on the iPhones and whatever the case may be, right? So I got you on the high grade AI that they're using in the military and health things. That's cool. But I'm talking about stuff that's going on your iPhone, your Apple Watch, and things like that. Can they get that stuff to like be okay? I mean, Apple dragging their feet. Yo, Apple, again, number one, I don't trust AI right now anyway, just because I know how terrible it can be. But the other thing is that Apple and AI aren't exactly two things that I put together confidently right now because of the Apple Intelligence debacle. I mean, maybe I'm in the minority here, but my thoughts right now of Apple Intelligence is not good. They're not good. They don't give me warm, fuzzy feelings. When I think about AI and Apple right now, I think about failure. I think about empty promises. I think about vaporware. That's what I think about. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I'm an Apple fan. I love Apple. But I don't trust them with AI right now. I can't trust them right now with AI. And it's just, it's not a good look. So Apple has to work very diligently to regain my trust in their AI capability, because right now it is not there. It is non-existent. I ain't trying to hear it. Like, what are we doing? So when you say AI health doctor on an iPhone or an Apple Watch, I'm like, ew, oh no. Because then that implies Apple Intelligence, and that just scares the shit out of me. Like, oh Lord. Woo! I don't know. But that's why I told y'all last week or the week past that WWDC this year for Apple is critical. They gotta show me something that actually works and will be available to me this year, and not some pipe dream down the line. They gotta show me something that's tangible, something that I can test out that day in a beta. Because the cool thing about WWDC is that day we get beta software, right? So we can test out the stuff that day. I need something that I can test out on my iPhone 16 Pro Max that day that shows me that this will work in a reasonable time frame. And if they can't do that, then my skepticism is only going to go up. So we'll see. Shout out to my man Joe for the $10 donation, man. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you very much. That definitely helped me out. You have no idea. So thank you. Again, if you guys are willing and able to donate and support your boy in these hard times, I will post the link in the chat here for you. The link is right there. Again, you can donate whatever you want. I don't care how big or how small it is. Every dollar counts, especially given the fact that my bank account is currently in the negative and not really getting any better anytime soon. So anything that you could donate, greatly appreciated, yo. It's rough out here right now. It's rough. But going back to what I was saying about Apple and being able to trust them with AI, I just don't. I don't trust them right now. So they got a lot to show me at WWDC. And again, based off of what happened last year, right now, my level of care for WWDC is like very minimal. Like, I have little to no expectations this year. So we shall see. We shall see. All right, what else is going on? What else is going on here? What else is going on that we could talk about? Let's see. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Again, I appreciate you guys being here, and thank you again, Joe, for the donation, dude. You are seriously helping me out. Appreciate you, my guy. Yeah, but Shinosin's, like I keep saying, if it's Apple, it's vaporware. A lot of this AI stuff out there is vaporware right now. They want to sell us on the idea of AI, but they don't have any practical execution out there on a consumer level. I mean, yeah, it's cool that you could clean up pictures and restructure a face in a picture and things like that. That's fine. But a lot of it is just vaporware and crap that it's pretty much, it's non-existent right now. We're waiting for it to come out and do something feasible, practical, and we're not there yet. It's just not there. And yeah, it is Google and Samsung. Google and Samsung, they're all like trying to sell me a pot of dreams, and I'm just like, show me something. That's why I keep saying at this year's WWDC, I really need Apple to show me something because right now I'm not convinced. I'm not impressed. I'm not convinced. They need to show me something. Show me what really is going on. Show me that you can actually figure it out. Because right now, I don't have faith in you, Craig. I don't have faith in you, Tim. I don't have faith in you, Greg. Figure it out. Make it work, okay? Shit. Make it work, bro. Make it work. All right, let's see. What else? What else is going on? What else is going on? Let's see. Anything else? Anything else happening? Okay, nope. Nothing else going on real quick. Nope. No major news items are happening. Let me just do a little search for Dick Thorough. Again, I appreciate y'all being here and hanging out, man. Always good to talk tech and real world stuff with you all. I appreciate y'all giving me a few minutes on your Friday night. So thank you again for that. We've been here for what, 51 minutes? Wow, that's cool. Been here for 51 minutes. Like, I could not believe today when Nintendo came out and said, yeah, we got to delay pre-order because of tariffs. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, my God. Whoo. Oof. Rough. Oh, there's something else going on it's not going on. Well, actually, there's something else going on. But there's something else on top of the something else that's going on. So, Amazon is potentially in talk to acquire TikTok. And my question about that whole situation was, if Amazon does acquire TikTok, what does that mean for the future of Twitch, right? Because Twitch has been losing money for Amazon forever and ever, amen. Twitch is not profitable, and just in case you all weren't aware, Twitch loses Amazon money every year. Twitch is not a moneymaker for Amazon. But if they were to acquire TikTok, then number one, TikTok, I'm not sure how much moneymaker TikTok is, but TikTok has something that's very valuable to Amazon, which Roberto was talking to me about today. TikTok has TikTok Shop, and they do a lot of business through TikTok Shop. So if Amazon can acquire TikTok and then leverage TikTok Shop, that could be a boon for Amazon. So that could be a very good acquisition for them if they can acquire TikTok and then integrate TikTok Shop into what they're doing on Amazon or whatever. But again, with that happening, what does that mean for Twitch? Because if they can acquire TikTok and make it work, do they really need Twitch? They don't really need Twitch. They can just sell Twitch or cut it off or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it'll go on, but will it go on with Amazon? My question is, will it go on with Amazon? I'm just not convinced. I don't know. Speaking of TikTok today, actually TikTok was supposed to be banned tomorrow, apparently, but they got a stay of execution for 75 days. So TikTok will not be banned for another 75 days. And again, I know I like I just said, Amazon is supposedly talk to acquire it or buy it or whatever. I don't know. This TikTok thing has been so long and drawn out. I'm just like, can we just figure it out? Either you're gonna ban it or you're not gonna ban it. All this delaying the execution and just, bro, what are we doing? Like, we've been talking about banning TikTok for 5 years now, and nobody's done nothing about it. Like, you're not gonna get rid of it. Just stop it. What are we doing? Joe said the Chinese government already said that they would not approve a sale of TikTok because of these tariffs. Okay. I got Joe got his ear to the Chinese government ground. See, I was not aware of that. So that's interesting. So Amazon might be in talks, but if the Chinese government don't want to talk back, then that's going to be difficult. So I don't know. Ultimately, I think TikTok is so big that they'll figure out how to work around it. Either somebody will buy it or they'll let it be, because it's a juggernaut at this point. They're not going to get rid of it. So, like I said, TikTok Shop does create a lot of money, so they ain't getting rid of it. It is what it is. I don't know. Johnson, if it hasn't died now, it won't with TikTok and Amazon portfolio. Oh, you talking about Twitch? Maybe. I mean, I guess if Amazon were to acquire TikTok, I guess it would just depend on how much resources or how many resources that Amazon would then allocate toward Twitch. Why? And my question is, why would you allocate resources to Twitch when Twitch is losing you money, where you have this TikTok thing over here that is making you money? So if you do acquire TikTok and you're Amazon, does it make sense to keep pumping money into something that's losing you money? Or does it make more sense to pump money into something that's going to give you money back? So, again, if Amazon does acquire TikTok, but according to Joseph, that's not happening because of the tariff. But for a hypothetical argument, if Amazon were to acquire TikTok, would they keep messing with Twitch? I don't know. I don't know. Tony Loke said I'm done with the whole thing. I mean, I'm not even on TikTok. I mean, I go on there every now and then just to like consume content, but I don't make content on TikTok. I don't care about TikTok that much. If TikTok was gone tomorrow, I would not lose a wink of sleep about it. So, but I know it is Gen Z platform and they love the hell out of TikTok. So that would be a problem for Gen Z. There'll be riots in the streets and things. So I don't know. Jason, what's up, man? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. My man from the up north in Canada, where they're also feeling the impending doom of tariffs. Ah, boy. You know, it is very, very interesting. So I mispronounced it. So is the lock, is the loc, like what is the lock or in the loc? What is it? I don't know. Y'all don't know. Let me know, yeah. Let me know. Janota says, if Twitch were under Google, it would have been shot back years ago. Just seeing from how long they've lost money on it, it's not that big of a deal for Amazon. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. Oh, it's lock. Okay, so I said it right. I said it right earlier and I just mispronounced it then. Okay. So now I know for the future it is Tony Lock. Got you. All right, we're gonna lock that down. Yeah. I swear. Twitch I feel like Twitch has 9 lives, bro. Twitch has 9 lives. It's the thing that keeps on living. That makes sense. Scottish? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I got you. Scottish. Okay. All right. I got it. But yeah. I wonder if anything will come from the Amazon TikTok talk. But again, if the Chinese government is like, no, we're not doing it because of the tariff, then there's only so much you can do. Again, I just find it interesting, right? That Trump is, from my understanding, again, I'm not a political science major. I don't understand everything about politics, but from my understanding, Trump is importing these tariffs to bring more revenue in order to force companies to start manufacturing in the United States, right? But even if you get companies to start manufacturing in the United States, that is not going to help the economy that much, in my opinion, because, and it's sad to say, but this is just the reality, the cost of labor in countries outside the United States, it's nothing. Like, you got kids working in shops and stuff, man. Like that, I mean, and I'm not condoning this stuff, but I'm also not just going to be naive to the fact that it's happening. The low cost of labor in the rest of the world compared to what it would be in the United States, I don't know if that's conducive to a company sustaining a business if you are trying to pay U.S. workers minimum wage to manufacture things. It's just, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make much sense to me, man. Because you cannot pay a U.S. worker what these other kids in other countries are getting paid to do these manufacturing jobs. It ain't gonna work. The U.S. workers are not gonna do it. They're not gonna have it. So if you do get people to work in the U.S. and manufacture in the U.S., you got to pay them minimum wages, and ultimately that will drive up the cost of the product because the companies will have to pay more in labor costs. So what are we accomplishing? Like, what are we accomplishing here? I just, like, it's almost like you cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's almost like running around in circles. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Tony says we don't have everything in the U.S. to fill the needs of the world economy, as you mentioned earlier. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah. And that's the other thing, right? There are things that you can't do or acquire in the U.S. So you have to go outside of the U.S. to get those things. So these tariffs are going to negatively impact that too. Listen, man, you know, I mean, I'm just being funny here, but French fries, right? If we got our fries from the French, and before y'all come me, I know that French fries aren't really inherently French per se, but y'all know what I mean. But if we can only get our French fries from the French, we can't do French fries in the U.S. But again, I'm just joking, you all. But it's sort of like that, right? Some things you can't do in the U.S. and you have to go outside of the U.S. to bring those things into the U.S. And Trump's like, no, we're going to impose these tariffs to bring more jobs to the U.S. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like you're running around in circles at that point. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to achieve his ultimate end game here, but I'm not that intelligent about that part of the stuff, so I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on the subject. Joe says, imagine the reversal that would happen in 4 years if the Democrats win again. I mean, this economy, you keep going down the toilet, the Democrats will win again. They will win again easily because this is what's happening or what could happen is not sustainable. It's just it's not, it can't hold it up. You can't do it. Jason says, saw someone today online say to manufacture the container for their hot sauce and glass bottle will cost 800% more in the US. Exactly. That's my whole point, right? So if you manufacture some of these things in the United States, the cost of the thing goes up because the cost of labor is gonna go up. And again, does that fix our economy? I don't think so. Because even if you are producing more jobs in the United States, realistically, if the cost of those things are going to go up, that means those companies won't be able to pay those US employees that much. Well, actually, no, let me take that back. They're going to be mandated by law to pay these US workers a certain amount of money, minimum wage or whatever, right? Which is going to, in turn, drive up the cost of the product because the companies are going to want to make that profit. And if you have to drop up the cost of things that were like down here, but now the cost is going to be up here, you're not going to sell as many. So it's like running on a hamster wheel, man. There's no ending to it. Like, where does it end? I don't know. It's just weird. Tony said the various chips and phone consoles and computers all come from other countries. You are correct. We talked about that earlier. Yep, that is true. Joe said we don't have the skill or capacity to manufacture here. TSMC had to fill that Arizona plant with Taiwanese workers. It would take decades and hundreds of billions to train U.S. workers. Yeah. And again, even if you did, obviously, to your point, Joe, not only will you have to train them, again, you would have to pay them more because there's a such thing as a minimum wage in the United States that doesn't really exist in other parts of the world. So it wouldn't be feasible. It's not feasible. Unless I'm missing something entirely. And again, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but to me, it doesn't seem feasible. Larry says some industries we don't want back, like t-shirts and socks, low pay, not worth it. Yeah, I can see that. Tony says it's like asking which came first, the chicken or the egg. Yeah, there's a lot like that. Larry said, think of it this way. Your average Walmart item would cost double, but we have more jobs. Sounds like a bad trade-off. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have more jobs, but those jobs will come at the expense of the product being more expensive, and then you're still not helping out the economy. So it's just, yeah. I don't know, man. This is crazy. Joe said, in rich countries, service jobs are more worth it. Would you rather make 60K working in a factory or 160K working for Netflix? What makes people think that everyone is dying to work in a factory? That too. Yeah, that's the one thing that we haven't really talked about out loud. Yeah, you want to bring manufacturing jobs back to the US, but are you going to be able to have workers that, to I think Joe pointed earlier, are skilled enough and willing enough to want to do that work? I don't know. Jason said also the factory Trump wants to build would take a decade to build. Maybe. I mean, building things these days is pretty quick, so yeah, I don't know. Oh, that's another good point. A lot of things today are largely automated. So that, I guess that would be, that was the one thing that might kind of help offset like having more jobs in the U. Oh, actually, that means damn. I just nuked my own point. If you automate things, that means that's less jobs. So yeah, sure, you can manufacture things in the U.S., but if it's going to be automated, you're not really bringing jobs back to the U.S. And then you still have to import things into the U.S. because you can't do everything in the U.S. You have to import things, and then you got it's just you're back to point A. You're literally back to point A, fam. I don't know, man. I don't know. Janelle said post-internet millennials and younger working in factories. I mean, dude, you gotta. I mean, when some people gotta make money any way they can, man. They gotta make money any way they can. And speaking of making money any way you can, again, if you guys are willing and able and want to support and help out your boy, please consider donating via PayPal. The link is right there in the chat for you to do that. Any donation, no matter how big, no matter how small, would be greatly, greatly appreciated, man. Anything will help, especially in these trying times. So thank you guys for hanging out and just supporting me during this whole thing. It's kind of hard to believe that next month will be a year that I have been unemployed, man. Like it's just crazy. Um, I don't know. I don't know if one is ever really prepared for a layoff, especially when it kind of comes out of the blue. But here we are, almost a year later, still trying to hunt for jobs and not making any money and whatnot and things. So yeah, any support you guys can give, greatly appreciate it. Yeah, about to be a year next month, which is crazy, right? About to be a year. But got to keep going, trying to stay positive, maintain best I can, man. And again, your donations definitely help with that. So I appreciate all the donations you guys have given me so far. And if you can and are willing and able to continue to support me in any way you can, greatly appreciate it. So thank you guys again. And yeah, man. Again, the tariff thing, I just don't know. I'm not sure what the end game. Well, I know what the end game is. I'm just not sure how feasible the end game is. If your end game is to bring jobs back to the United States, that comes at a cost too. So is that really going to be worth it in the end? I don't know. Oh man. All right. So any last questions, thoughts, comments before we get out of here? Feel free to drop them in the chat. Any thoughts, questions, anything you want to talk about, feel free to drop it in the chat. Otherwise, I will give you guys your Friday back. Joe says taking the economy will cause a lot more jobs than whatever this will theoretically bring back. Oh yeah. That's true, because when things start to cost more for companies, guess what also happens? I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's the other thing that happens when companies have to pay more for things. Layoffs. Trust me when I tell you. I know firsthand. But layoffs happen. More layoffs. So you try to bring jobs back, but with these tariffs, if these tariffs don't go away or don't decrease or something, you're gonna have more layoffs. Well, how does that work? How does that help the economy have more people out of a job? Like, again, I told y'all, I seen some chat on it that we could be entering the next Great Depression with these tariffs. So, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Tony said, we're definitely headed for another recession if we're not already in it. Yeah. Janelle says, Trump thinks bringing jobs back to America for those who don't have work ethic these days. Oh, man. These are the kind of jobs coming back. Those are the kind of jobs coming back, I guess. Jobs that demand the grind. Yeah. Hard work, man. Hard work. Joe said, there are no jobs coming back. It's just cheaper and easier to make consumers pay for the tariff. Yeah. And that will be the effect. To Joe's point, jobs aren't coming back. Jobs are going to be lost because these companies are going to cut labor to maximize their profits. I mean, it's already happening, but now with these tariffs, it's probably going to happen more. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know what's going to come of all of this. We still got a whole, 4 years of Trump in office and whatnot. So, I don't know, man. We'll have to see what happens and see how these things play out moving forward. A lot of people, some people have said that these tariffs are a negotiation thing. So hopefully some of this is just negotiation and it won't be as bad as we think. And I don't know, but we shall see. But anyway, I appreciate y'all being here for the combo today. And again, I appreciate those of y'all who have donated. Yeah, right. It's only been 2 months. I appreciate those of y'all who donated to me. So thank you for the donations and thank you for hanging out. Joe says he will either remove the tariffs or Congress will. People will riot. If it's one thing that Americans like, it's paying next to nothing for cheap crap. Yeah, it's something got to give, yo. Something got to give. It's like what is it? How that thing go? It's the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. Something has to give, yo. Something has to give. Yeah, Jay Boogie, scary times indeed, man. Scary times indeed. But hey, appreciate y'all being here. Enjoy your weekend. Be kind, be safe, and we will catch up on the social media, man. Peace.